I don't know, the other cowboy. The original is played by Glenn Campbell, while the remake is played by Matt Damon. Now, Campbell looks like he belongs in a cowboy movie. He looks naive, but nevertheless has some idea about how to take care of himself. Look at that big, dumb grin. How can you not like this guy?
And you, dear lady, I find a sweet distraction, as I suppose most men do. Will you excuse us?
While he does have his tough moments, his chipper attitude shows he's clearly in over his head. In the remake, on the other hand, Damon plays it a little different. He's in over his head too, but not in the same way. He's very by the book, and I get the feeling that he wants to be taken seriously. He wants to be the heroic leader, but he is nevertheless out of place.
And why did you not catch him in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, or Monroe, Louisiana?
He's a crafty one.
I thought him slow-witted myself.
That was his act.
It was a good one.
Both are very effective and serve the story great. However, many argue that Matt Damon didn't belong in this movie, that he didn't look like the traditional cowboy character. But oddly enough, I think that works to the film's advantage. In many ways, he shouldn't be there, and when he takes off, it actually seems very fitting and in character. And I think that because someone like Matt Damon is playing him, that comes across much stronger. Again, kind of a tough call, but I think I'm gonna go with the remake. Why? Because it has the bear guy in it! I mean, who was that? Where did he come from? What's his story? We'll never know, and by God, it's killing us trying to find out!
I have taken his teeth. I will entertain an offer for the rest of him.
Far out.
That guy was awesome! Point goes to the new. I love the bear guy.
I'm of a mind to give you 5 or 6 good licks with my belt.
And now it's time for the bad guys. The varmints that started this whole... Oh, God, just segue with the Big Lebowski joke.
Human paraquat!
Thank you. This is Best Villains. Now, something that I love in both of these movies is that the killer that Maddie is going after is not a mastermind. He's not a diabolical genius, he's not charismatic, he's not even very smart. He's just some idiot drunk. And you know what? That's actually kind of refreshing. Let's face it, a lot of killings in the Old West happened because, well, there were a lot of idiot drunks. And they had guns. And if anything, he's actually following the more charismatic, smarter villain. That makes the story seem much more real and unlike traditional westerns. One is played by Jeff Corey.
I know you, little Matty, the bookkeeper.
And the other is played by Josh Brolin.
I don't think you're doing it.
What do you think now?
Now I'm shot by a child?
Again, both are good, but I think Corey's is a little bit more pathetic. I feel like the more low the character is, the more in vain the murder is, which again makes for a different but much stronger story. But if we're gonna look at him, we might as well look at the leader too. This is Ned Pepper, played in the remake by Barry Pepper.
El coincidence.
And in the original by Robert Duvall.
I never busted a cap on a woman or nobody much under 16, but it's enough that you know I'll do what I have to do.
Even though Barry Pepper does a really good job as the leader and seems totally legit, well, he's going up against Robert fucking Duvall. I'm sorry, that's a really hard act to follow. This guy, much like the bear guy, you really want to know more about. Something about the way he speaks and holds himself, just a man's presence.
I'm happy he done what he done, but he should have kept his head and looked out for himself. Goes for your good friend Rooster.
Like, this was the main villain from a different movie, but somehow got roped into this one. Like, this guy really wanted no part with these people. Like, he had much bigger stories he was involved with, but then somehow got mixed up in this bullshit that one of his henchmen started. Again, that sort of adds to the shit happens effect of these movies. It's great. It's absolutely great. So, let's give credit where credit's due. The original really did have the better villains. Sorry guys, you did good too, just not as good. Point goes to the old.
Must think over my position and how I may improve it.
And now the defining point that always settles it, the story. What fascinates me about this film and its remake is how different they are, and yet how almost identical they are. Sure, there's little changes like the bear guy and the hanging person, but when you're walking through, it's almost scene for scene the same. The only major difference is the beginning and the ending. In the original opening, we see Maddie interact with her father, but in the remake, he's already dead. And the ending, well, we'll get to that in a minute. The other core difference really is in style and tone. The original is a basic revenge story where good wins in the end and justice has its way. In the remake, it's much more dark and empty. Maddie is obsessed from the beginning with getting her man. That's the focus of this version. The obsession. In the original, she gets her revenge and everything seems great. She's happy her dad's avenged, John Wayne gives a little smile, and he rides off to more adventure. Just like most John Wayne movies. In the remake, it's not so simple. Maddie loses her arm from the snake bite, which, by the way, I feel really sorry for the snake in the original. Look at this thing! Somebody call fucking PETA! Well, anyway, Maddie loses her arm, Rooster leaves after dropping her off to safety, keeping in character, and she doesn't ever see him again. We cut to years later when she grows up bitter and cold, finding that her revenge is actually filled very little. She only finds out later where and when Rooster died, and even then, it's not so heroic. She visits his grave, walks away, and that's it. There is no grand ending, no riding on the horse, no cowboy music playing. It sucks all the romance out of it and shows the emptiness that such an obsession will ultimately get you. It's not a happy ending, I guess, but it's not a sad ending either, I guess. It's just very, very hollow. But that seems more fitting for this story. And let's be honest, a child that grows up with that kind of thirst for violence probably won't lead a normal, happy life. She probably would be a lonely stick in the mud with little to smile at. And again, it's a very refreshing take from the kill the bad guy and everything is fine motif that most westerns follow. So because of that, even though the stories are very similar, we got two very different versions. And the better one, as you probably imagine, is the one with more complexity and depth, the newer version. I have to admit, I feel bad that I've given most of the points to the new version, even though the old one is very good too. They're both great movies for what they are and deserve to be watched and recognized. It's just that when you put them back to back, the new one really does have more to offer. It's darker, grittier, and leaves much more of an impact. So, as you can guess, the best story also comes from the best version, the new True Grit, the superior film. So, thank you all for watching. I hope you had a good time, and, well, if there's anything I know how to do, it's how to end a Western. I'm the Nostalgia Critic guy, remember? So you don't have to.
I have taken his teeth.